When we prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value.
But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
This is a Sales Logic. And Mark, hard to believe, but this is the last show of the year. This is the last show of 2025. So it has been quite a year, wouldn't you say?
It has been quite a year. And if you're listening to it as a podcast, you'll actually be getting it like January 6th or something like that. So it's the new year. Yes,
Yeah.
it has been. You know, it's been so many things that we didn't think were going to happen, happened, and other things we thought were going to happen did not happen. But isn't that what sales is all about? Isn't that what you talk about in terms of change?
Yeah, so much uncertainty in 2025, and it looks like 2026 is shaping up to be even more uncertainty in the marketplace. So what are we going to dive into? What do we want to talk about today?
We're going to keep with that theme. It's top sales mistakes to avoid in 2026. And the lightning round, stick around to the end of the show, we're going to be talking about top 10 things to accelerate your first quarter sales. So we got a great show. We got a question. We got a book. So, hey, top sales mistakes to avoid in 2026.
You know, I was just going through my email this morning, and I got a newsletter from Joel Weldon. And if you work in the business that Mark and I work in, Joel Weldon is pretty much a legend. Some of you may have heard of him, but he gave these list of questions that you ought to ask yourself before you start planning for 2026. And I was just looking over the questions, and one of them was, "What's the biggest mistake you think you made in 2025?" And I've got to say, I think one of the biggest mistakes to avoid in 26, I think it's going to be more important than I made it in 2025. I did not ask enough for referrals. And I think there's going to be so much noise in the marketplace in 2026. And I think the path to create trust and credibility is going to be longer. And the fastest way to cut that is to ask for referrals.
I think without a doubt, you're spot on with that. This is why I'm telling people you got to get tight with your circle. I talk about your 5, your 25, your 100. These are your circles. These are your customers, your clients, your connections, your peers, others you work with who have the greatest propensity to bring you additional business, and you can help them. Remember that this is a two-way street. But I think without a doubt, because there is so much noise out there. And there's so much, is this really what's happening? Is this not happening, et cetera? So the trust and the relationship, we have to become the Yelp reviews for our peers, and our peers have to become the Yelp reviews for us. That is without a doubt something that we have to accelerate. And that's a mistake I think we all missed last year. We didn't do enough of it.
Yeah, I think another mistake, a sales mistake in 2026 that you want to avoid is not making time on a regular basis for education. I think you really are going to need to understand that this is the year that you truly have to be the expert in the industry and the known expert in the industry.
You really do have to be the known expert. And this is the challenge because knowledge is becoming so democratized because of AI. So it's the knowledge, and how do you apply it? Hey, I love Terry Brock is jumping in. Great. Yes, asking for referrals is always important. And that's, it's something that we just overlook in everything that we do. And why? Here's another big mistake. Thinking that you can just keep doing what you did last year and just do it a little bit more and you'll have success this year. No, there are things you've got to fundamentally change. You have to.
Yeah, we got a great question here from Anthony. Will 2026 punish teams that chase volume instead of value creation?
I don't think so. This is going to be controversial. There will always be some sectors of various businesses out there that it's all volume oriented. There will always be some commodity oriented things. But I think the trend is without a doubt to value creation now. Have we jumped the hurdle? We've jumped the hurdle in probably a lot of industries, but not all industries. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think punish is a strong word. I would say more struggle, but I definitely do think if you are working on a team where your sales manager is still chasing volume, like they are very interested in the amount in the pipeline versus the quality in the pipeline. Yeah, I think 2026 will punish teams like that. I think that for sure. I think that this is, I think, one of the things that you need to realize in a mistake that you would make is in 2026, you need to realize that every single deal you close is an indicator of the next opportunity you're going to get. And what I mean by that is that if I am going to buy from Anthony in 2026, before I buy from him, I'm going to look at what Anthony's customers say about him. And so it's just a really big indicator. So you have to think about when you sell to people, am I creating value for them? Are they having a good experience? Because if they're not having a good experience, then they're gonna negatively impact my next opportunity for sales.
Oh, without a doubt, because when we look at volume, we look at it as more of a transaction. And that is absolutely going away very, very quickly, because every deal we make leads to the next deal. This is why I love to say that we don't close a deal, but we open a relationship. This is absolutely so key, because it's the relationship we create. And if we're not getting an ever increasing number of opportunities based off of customers we're currently serving, then either our sales process is wrong or our product is wrong. But again, this is a measurement. And I love what Natalie's jumping in. When people know, like, and trust each other, there's an opportunity to explore synergy and make introductions. You're right. This is what it is. There is no easier or faster way to accelerate your business than by having other people out there being basically your salespeople. Because again, they're advocating, they're talking about you, and you're talking about them.
Yeah, Anthony jumps in here with another great sales mistake that's right up Terry Brock's alley. And that would be the real sales mistake would be automation without empathy. I could not agree more, Anthony. I think 2026 is going to be the year of human connection. I think, in fact, one of the biggest sales mistakes you can make in 2026 is taking the human out of it. So I think finding ways to really connect. I was sending out some emails this morning, and I was really working on hyper personalizing the first two sentences of it, like really thinking about the individual and what would be, what would be special, and really indicate them that I put some thought into it. Now, it's a great email. I could have just automated it, but absolutely right. Without empathy is very important.
See, and that comes back and builds on what Natalie had shared regarding trust and so forth. It is absolutely, there is so much noise out there that this is where it comes down to our circle, our pipeline, everything we're doing is actually going to get smaller. I love Andy's comment, just like a great restaurant. Who do you think would benefit from all we enjoyed as we grew to get? You're right. This is it. I mean, you go to a great restaurant, you talk about it. You talk about it to other people. And it's the same thing with when you complete a sale. Is that customer talking about you? Because again, you know what's interesting? The customer is going to talk about you. They are going to talk about you either positively or negatively. So you better create an experience that allows them to talk about you positively, because it is so funny, but in this yin yang world of AI, where there's so much noise out there, the success is going to become when we get, like you said, hyper personalized with our customers. I love that.
Yeah, I think another sales mistake that you would make is to not make this the year that you experiment with AI. Now, I know there's the thought that don't put AI out there, don't integrate technology until you have a strategy around it. But I think that needs to lead to how you experiment about it. Like really, get yourself in some masterminds or in some groups, the people that are using AI, talk to other salespeople about how they're integrating it into their sales, and then start to play around with it and get far more comfortable with it. I think one of the biggest sales mistakes you can make with AI is to think you have to be perfect at it. And this is not the year to be perfect at it. It's the year to really get comfortable. Because I can't imagine in 2026, and maybe Terry Brock knows, how much AI is going to change in 2026. I mean, my God, look at how much it did in 2025. So what is it going to look like? If you do not get on that train now, you are going to be so far behind.
Well, this is the whole thing. Again, we can't really predict where AI is going to be, but I love this comment. I'm not going to say this name because unfortunately I'm not going to pronounce it right.
Avinash Das.
Hey,
that's what I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that. Sorry if we butchered your name, but thank you so much for showing up today.
I love this. What are some of the soft skills, become an expert? I think this is where you use AI, because AI can help you become an industry expert. AI can give you insights, where should you look? What should you be reading? Where you should be going? Because again, what we have to be seen as is the industry expert. If we're not seen as the industry expert, we're just a vendor, we're just a salesperson out there. This is where it becomes so incumbent on us to be able to articulate our value proposition very succinctly. And again, stay tight to your industry, stay tight to your ICP, and this is how you become known as the expert. And use AI to guide you in that direction, but do not use AI to do everything for you. Because again, come back to somebody made the comment earlier about, empathy and so forth. Absolutely critical when it comes to the use of AI. It is. It's your interpretation. It's what you think and how you feel you can apply it.
Yeah. Again, Abhinash, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. When, your question here is around soft skills and the biggest soft skills that we would recommend. I think one of the biggest soft skills that we need to develop, and nobody thinks they need to develop this skill, but we need to develop it, is listening. I think it's going to be the most powerful soft skill in 2026, because think about this, the marketplace is going to be changing and shifting like crazy. With that, your customers' needs are going to be shifting. Add to that in an uncertain marketplace, what people want more than anything is to be heard, because when they are heard, they feel valued. And I think the most important soft skill you can develop in 2026, and the biggest mistake you can make, is not listening. Develop that skill and you're going to be successful.
Oh, and you know what? That picks up a comment that came in a couple minutes ago. I want to put it up here. Natalie, she said, going wide and deep with top clients offers solutions that solve problems. And when we go wide and deep, sometimes what that means is you're actually bringing somebody else in. You're referring them to somebody else. You're customer centric to absolutely be helping them. And I love that approach. And hey, that takes us to the question of the week. It comes from Althea in the Philippines. And hey, I'm going to be over in the Philippines in just a couple of weeks speaking.
Oh,
but
great.
she asked, but it's a long flight over there and back. Yeah. Anyway, buyers are taking so much longer to decide. And it feels like the list of people involved in the decision is growing. How am I supposed to know when a deal is truly stalled versus just moving at today's normal pace?
What a good question. I want to clarify that one more time. So the question is, how do I know when a deal has truly stalled versus moving at today's slower pace? Mark, we could honestly do a whole show on this, because I think that I think that's a critically important question. Number one, I think that the answer is you're never really going to know. I mean, what you're taking is an educated guess as a salesperson. But the very first question I'm going to ask myself, if I want to know if a deal has stalled or if it's a dead deal, is, am I working in my ideal customer profile? I mean, is this somebody who most likely would buy or purchase from me? Because if I'm going to continue to invest my time here, I need to make sure I'm investing it in the right person, because I think it's a huge sales mistake to make in 2026 would be not realizing that when you choose to focus on a prospect, you are saying no to other prospects. You only have so much time, so work in your bullseye.
And there's so much to be said there, because again, I'm going to encourage, go back and listen to last week's show where we talked about the CFO. Remember, because it really comes down to, if you don't have the economic buyer involved, you run the risk that this is going to stall out, because what you're doing is you're talking to people who are users, but not truly the decision maker and the economic buyer. And this is one of the challenges that I find with salespeople. We are still very guilty of assumptive selling. We assume we know what the customer is looking for. We assume because they look like this, they talk like this, they think, but we don't actually know because we haven't investigated deep enough. I love Althea's comment because of the number of people. Yes, there are more people involved in any decision today than ever before. But remember, with each one of those people comes a little nuance on the value proposition. There's something about that. Maybe the value proposition for the company is right. You're right on. But each individual has their own interpretation of their own nuance. And you better understand that. So again, it's going to come back to, do I understand the individual value prop? And am I dealing with the economic buyer? That's, to me, what I think is the key to really being able to understand as to whether or not, and along with that, then what's their timeline for making a decision? Because if you don't have a timeline for them making a decision, they haven't told you, forget it. It's going to stall out.
Yeah, I think also I would add to that. I mean, I think your comments are great. I would add to that is there an economic value on the pain point you're solving? Like, have you really defined the big pain point, and is it going to save them money, make them money, or give them peace of mind, make them more productive? Like, have you really dialed in there? I think Althea's question goes really, really well with Bill Snow's comment around top sales mistake. Not being honest with yourself when critiquing your pipeline. Is it truly qualified, and are you drilling into the pain points that your prospects have? I think this is going to be a huge mistake in 2026. Mark, I was doing a lot of research this weekend on the level of uncertainty and its impact on 2026. And it's really expected to go on steroids. I mean, the amount and the pace of uncertainty coming at people is going to increase. That means that you really have to value, and you really have to focus on your time. And what Bill Snow is saying here is so critically important. Like, do not do your pipeline for anybody else but you. And if it's BS in the pipeline, get it out of there, because you're wasting your time and energy.
And there's something to be said there that you and your manager have to be in line as to the pipeline, because I see so many salespeople putting stuff in their pipeline, keeping stuff in their pipeline, really because it's to appease their manager. And sales managers, you're listening to this, you're watching this show, you gotta be willing to say, hey, let's call a spade and an ace an ace. Let's call it what it is. Okay, let's get real. And let's not have our salespeople be putting stuff into the pipeline just to appease you, or for you to appease your boss. Because again, this is what happens time and time again. I want to come back to this whole this whole piece of really understanding change out there. This comes back to why you have to be so dialed in on your industry. But when you dial in on your industry, make sure that you take a look at what are the factors, the external factors that impact your industry. Because again, I know you do this well, Mayor, because you go in and you really understand what are those external factors that could impact the internal decision. And that's allowing you to be the holistic person to really provide the solution.
Yeah, I love Bill King has a question here. What are your thoughts of all these AI tools being marketed as replacing the need to make outbound sales calls yourself?
Wow, that is a loaded question, because I know so many salespeople. Well, we got these AI tools and they make all the outbound calls. Really, what you're doing is you're being lazy. You're being lazy. I've had several companies pitch me and they want me to be an advisor for them. And I've said, no, I'm not going to, because I'm not going to go down this path of having AI tools do all this. Here's the situation. If what you're doing is spraying and praying, then fine, go get an AI tool. But you know what? That's not going to be success. What have we been talking about here today? It's about getting tight. It's about getting focused. It's about understanding who your people are and staying focused. And again, comes back to what Mayor said right at the top of the show. When you are dealing with people who you know, you can get referrals from them and you can give them referrals. It's creating that circle of influence amongst a tight group.
Yeah, I would suggest Bill and all of us really start following Terry Brock and Gina Carr to know the latest things on AI. But my opinion around it is that I'm personally using AI to do the things that are not customer touching. Now, they do some emails for me and things like that, but really, if I'm gonna close a deal, I still think that's the highest and best use of my time. And I think a sales mistake for 2026 is not understanding and not getting very clear on the top 3 to 5 tasks that are the highest and best use of your time and working in those areas at least 80% of the time. That's what's going to close more deals.
Yeah, because that comes back to really use AI to take care of those low value items. Well, they're high value for you because they're going to give you the knowledge that you need to do the really high value, which is customer facing. It comes down to CFT, customer facing time. And I love Terry's comment because, he said, the battle between Gemini and chat. Yeah. I mean, Google, wow, they blew up the universe when they rolled out Gemini 3 here. And it's amazing how, which one? But here's the whole thing. I think we can get caught up in trying to understand, which one's the best? Which one's the best? I think it's almost irrelevant. It's like, if I'm going to a great restaurant, I live in Dallas, dozens of great restaurants I can go to. I'm not trying to go to the absolute top one. I just want to go to one of the better restaurants, one of the best restaurants. And that's okay. I think that's the avenue we need to take when it comes to using the AI tool, preference. So, hey, are you ready for the lightning? Well, no,
I'm ready for the book and then the lightning round.
Yes, the book. I'm totally out of sequence here. The book, Selling Through Tough Times, from our friend Tom Riley out of St. Louis. I love this book. What are your thoughts on it?
I love this book, and I think it's a great book for 2026 because, maybe the word tough is the wrong word, but because I don't want to put a negative connotation, but selling in 26 will be different, and I think you need to be open to that, and I think you need to realize that your sales strategy is going to change, and I think Tom covers that really well.
Oh, he does cover well. I like the word tough. I've known Tom for a number of years, and he's being, hey, get ready, because again, sales is not easy. You got to be prepared to do the work, and it isn't always a layup for you. So I love the book, Selling Through Tough Times by Tom Riley. Are you ready for the lightning round?
I am ready for the lightning round.
Top 10 things to accelerate first quarter sales.
Number 1, start right now. If you want to accelerate first quarter sales and you're listening to this podcast live, it is December the 27th, my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Beth. And it is time to start selling for first quarter right now.
Number 2 is looking at your list and remembering that you've got sales from your existing customers. Take that 25 customer list and ask yourself, where am I doing to get more business out of them right now? First 2 weeks of January in 2026.
Yeah, make a list of the people that you want to give referrals to and the people you want to ask for referrals.
I love it. Number 4, think of what your routine is. And again, Mary and I are both very high on this. Your discipline, your routine, your focus. I tell you what, you've got to get focused right from the start, because otherwise you're going to miss all of January.
Yeah, number 5, I'm going to add to that is that decide that the word of 2026 is consistency. Just be consistent. You don't have to do it perfectly every day. You just need to do it every day.
I love that. Number 6, clean out your pipeline. Clean it out, because you've got garbage in there. Don't carry it over to 2026. Look, if it didn't move in 2025, it's a dead horse. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Number 7, measure, track, and adjust at the end of every month. If you want first quarter to be strong, see what's working in January, make adjustments for February, and the same as you move into March.
Number 8, what are the questions that you're asking to gauge input right away from customers? If you don't have a good list of questions right now, today, develop that list of questions that you can be asking customers that are going to create the conversation.
Yeah. Number 9, really look at your value proposition. If you want to drive sales in 2026, you need a strong differentiator and you need a really strong value proposition.
Number 10, it's all about your mindset. I'll tell you what, if your mindset's not right, it is amazing at how you will fail, because I'll tell you what, you have no greater tool, no greater app, no greater AI than your own mindset, and you better use it in that right direction. Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show, because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
I'm Mark, and I'm Meridith Elliott Powell. I almost said I'm Mark Hunter. Doesn't everybody want to be Mark Hunter?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mayor's fighting a cold this week, so
Sorry.
Anyway, it's good. But hey, you know what? We're still doing the show, and I have no idea where we're at. But I'll tell you what. Here's the deal: if you're having an SKO, you got to reach out to Meridith, have her come in and speak, have me come in, or have both of us come in. Because again, we'd love to come in and share insights to help you make 2026 your best year yet. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so we will see you right back here next week, 8 a.m. Eastern. Mark and I will be coming to you from the Dominican Republic. It is mastermind time for us and our strategy for the year. So mark your calendar right now, 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you right back here Saturday morning. And today, you have been an amazing audience. Thank you so much for contributing, supporting, and promoting Sales Logic. We'll see you next week.